What's going on, guys? Going to be giving my quick thoughts on Justice League. I did make a video on Batman v Superman and why I really love that movie. Even with its flaws and kind of fucked up pacing, I still enjoy so many scenes in that movie. Do You Bleed is obviously unmatched. I love that whole fucking scene, and there is nothing even fucking close to that in Justice League. I really just do not like this movie, and I watched Justice League and then I watched Batman v Superman, which is weird. I didn't mean to do that, but I'm actually glad I did because it gave me some fucking clarity as to how different the characters are and why I just do not like this movie at all. There are things that I like, but most of them are small. For the most part, I like Flash. I really enjoy Flash in this movie. Aquaman's good. Cyborg's fine. I don't really care about him at all, and I think that's a main criticism for a lot of people in this movie is that Cyborg doesn't feel like he has very much build up at all, and he's kind of just there. Batman turns into a quippy mess, a quippy dumbass. To be completely honest, he's a lot different from BVS and just not the same character at all. I don't like him at all in Justice League. Wonder Woman is weak. She, after her solo movie and BVS, gets her ass kicked by Steppenwolf, even though she straight up takes punches from Doomsday and smiles about it. She gets her ass kicked by Steppenwolf, even with the help of Aquaman. I'm just, I'm kind of in awe after, watching this movie again and just realizing how fucked up it was. Because when I watched this for the first time, I actually liked it. I enjoyed Justice League a lot when I first watched it, but then I don't know what it was. I don't know if I enjoyed the feel of it, maybe feeling more like the MCU at the time, but then I realized that I don't like that. I like the direction they were going with BVS and the more darker tone. If they would have just stuck with that, it would have been more interesting than this and what we got. And this is just a unfinished, rushed movie with a shitty, shitty, shitty villain that is horrible. You don't know him at all. He's just there to be a villain. The humor is incredibly hit and miss. Very little things made me laugh. Honestly, the only thing that did was a line from The Flash with Pet Cemetery. I laughed at that, legitimately laughed at that. And that's why The Flash is the best part of this movie for me. I've been a fan of The Flash ever since I started watching the TV show. I don't watch it anymore because it got kind of insane and just hard to keep up with. So I quit watching, not really because I wanted to, but just because I couldn't keep up with the fucking show. I mean, after like season 4, I'm like, I don't know, I'm done. But I love the Flash as a character. I really enjoy him, and I liked him in this movie, even though there's really no character development across the board for any of these characters. You can look at them from the beginning to the end, and they're all the fucking same. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, this movie just has no direction, really. Justice League went through a lot of hell with Zack Snyder having his daughter pass away during filming, which is incredibly tragic, and obviously that's horrible for anybody. And the hate that Zack Snyder got for this movie is not it's not his fault. It's just not. It's not on him. It's on WB. It's on them for putting their hands. So many hands are on this movie. It's unbelievable. Joss Whedon came in and reshot 20% of the movie, and it feels like it. There's a lot of scenes that I can see were his and were Snyder's. You can just tell if you've watched BVS enough, and if you just watch Snyder movies in general enough, you can just tell when it's not his scene. And it's pretty obvious in this movie. And overall, this movie just has no direction. It's rushed. It's forced. There's no sort of tone to this movie. It's all over the place. There is no fun to be had for people that feel passionately about these movies. And I feel like I'm pretty passionate about these movies. I want them to be the best they can be. And when Justice League came out, I liked it, and I feel bad for liking it because, honestly, if they would have just stuck with Zack Snyder's vision, even though it wasn't perfect, I know a lot of people wanted it to be better, it's always better to just see something through, and you should have just let him at least finish Justice League, taken some time off with his daughter passing away, come back and finish the movie. I know that's not necessarily, what's the word I'm looking for, practical for them to finish the movie on a certain time, but that would have been the right thing to do and let him finish the movie, because now you got a bunch of people saying release the Snyder Cut, which we're never gonna fucking get. And it feels like WB did Zack Snyder very dirty with this movie by slapping his name on it, even though it was not his movie. This is not a Zack Snyder movie. I dislike this movie very much. I honestly feel like the best performance in this whole movie is Diane Lane. I love her reunion with Clark. I found it really touching. That was probably the only part in the movie that made me feel a little something, something, seeing them together. And, Superman in this movie's fine. He just is a big difference from what he was in Batman v Superman, and depending on how you view the character, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. For me, it's whatever. I kind of like the more darker Superman. So to see him come back and then kind of change into this, hopeful Reeves type Superman is probably welcoming for a lot of people. But for me, I wasn't really buying it that much, and he was forgettable for me, honestly. I just like Henry Cavill, but to me, he's more Geralt from The Witcher than Superman. So take that as you will. I said earlier there were things I liked. To be honest, it was really just The Flash. The Flash was the only thing I liked in this movie. Well, I mean, The Flash and Aquaman, they're cool. I like those actors, and I honestly like the performances in this movie from everybody as far as like them actually trying, but you can tell that this movie just had too much. Good lord. For me personally, this movie's fucking poop. The goddamn plot's shitty, the villain's shitty, all the characters are worse than they were in BVS. The big three are worse. Aquaman's good, The Flash is good, Cyborg's forgettable. I just don't like this movie very much. I'm gonna give it a goddamn D. I can sit down and watch this movie and have a okay time with it, but just knowing all the background and shit on this movie, I can't help but think when I'm watching this movie and just get kind of pissed off. But at the end of the day, it's fine. It's just extremely forgettable and just not a very good movie, and it's worse than BVS by a goddamn long shot in my opinion, because at least that movie had a tone and it set the stage. It was grounded. It made sense. This movie's not grounded at all. It's fucking crazy. It's all over the place. It's green screen galore. I'm not a fan. This movie gets a D. Whatever. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to look out for the next one. And as always, I'm out. Peace.